Hey there Disney Leung fam, it's Beth and welcome back to my channel. So today we have our July pin board for you guys. I am really excited because it is one of my favorite times of year in Japan, so you'll see that that is heavily represented. Here is what our pin board looks like. I really have only 2 or 3 different things represented this month, but I am really excited to kind of talk about them, tell you about the different holidays and festivities, stuff like that. So I'm gonna keep this intro pretty short, so let's go ahead and flip the camera around so that you guys can see all of these pins up close. Okay, so up at the top of my pin board, I have these 4 pins. These are all actually pulled from my Hong Kong collection. If you've been watching me for a while now, you guys will know that I have lived in both Hong Kong and Japan, so that's kind of why I focus my main collections on those 2 things, just to remember my time being there. Of course, I love Hong Kong Disney, but I definitely try to find pins that more so represent the actual city itself. So Hong Kong has been in the news a lot recently, as a lot of you probably know, with all of the protesting, and part of that is because they have a really big holiday on the 1st of July. It is basically their establishment day, so it's kind of like the 4th of July. They have a big fireworks celebration, and it basically just celebrates Hong Kong becoming independent from the UK back in 1997. Although if you guys are watching the news, you'll know that that's kind of being threatened by China, so that's why people kind of now use that day as a big protesting day. But it's also a really fun day of celebration, and so I really wanted to represent Hong Kong a little bit on this month's pin board. So I pulled a couple of my favorite or more unique pins. So the first one here I think is really adorable. It has Mickey and Minnie and it's kind of on this suitcase, but then in the background some of Hong Kong's most famous buildings are represented. Like we have the Bank of HSBC back here. That one's always really cool. So I love that it has like this kind of nighttime element with the little stars. And yeah, I just think this one is really unique, and I personally think Hong Kong has the prettiest skyline in the world, so I especially love any sort of pin that features the architecture and skyline. So you'll see here, this one is basically very similar. It's actually featuring a few different buildings here. We have the convention center. So this is all on Hong Kong Island. And we've got Donald and Goofy. It looks like they are out being a tourist. And I love that the background frame of the city looks like it's a postage stamp because I think that is awesome. I do have a small stamp collection as well, not Disney or pin related obviously, but I just love that pin to have that element in it. This next one is definitely one of my favorite Hong Kong pins in my entire collection just because it has a few different things represented. Firstly, I love that you have the Fab 5 in it. I love how there's these little Mickey balloons in the background that are glittery. We have Hong Kong's famous clock tower here, and we have a typical Hong Kong style street sign, except this one says Hong Kong Disneyland on it. So it does represent both real Hong Kong with some of the architecture as well as the park, which I absolutely love. Plus, it is just a really pretty pin. So over here is kind of a more unique pin. It features something that Hong Kong is very much so known for, and that is their different neon signs. So we have a sign here, and in Chinese it says Disneyland, and then another one going down here that just says Hong Kong. We've got the Disneyland Hong Kong logo down here, and again we have the skyline in the background. So yeah, just a really unique pin with a lot of cool elements going on, and I mean, who doesn't love Goofy? So another pin that I really love having in my collection. Moving down to this section, I have 2 different pins representing mochi. These are kind of dual meaning pins for us. The first one is one of the recent DSSH releases. It was from the Patriotic release, so of course that can definitely represent the 4th of July, which we didn't really celebrate. Since we're living in a new apartment, we basically kind of stayed home with the cats just to make sure it wasn't too loud in this area with all of the different fireworks and things, just to keep them comfortable. But I still felt like the 4th of July definitely needs to be represented on a July pin board, so I was really excited to get this pin. Christina over at Playdates and Travels was able to pick this up for me, and I super appreciate it so that I could stay mochi complete. And so the reason I have chosen 2 different mochi pins, and the reason we try to be mochi complete, is because Mochi is the cat that most closely resembles our little cat Buki. She is a little calico as well, and I wanted to represent her on this board just because July is the anniversary of when we first got Buki, when we became cat parents and got our first pet. So I really wanted to just represent her in this as well. Okay, so the rest of this board is actually going to just be all Japan related, and that is because one of Japan's 5 traditional holidays, which is called Tanabata, or the Star Festival, is celebrated during this time. So Tanabata is one of my favorite holidays, so I'm going to just kind of start with this really pretty older Japan pin in the middle. I love Japan pins that kind of connect together, and this one is just absolutely gorgeous. So Tanabata celebrates 2 star-crossed lovers, like literally. Basically, according to legend, these 2 lovers were separated by the Milky Way. They are 2 different stars represented by Vega and Altair, and the 2 lovers can only come together once a year, and that's on the 7th day of the 7th month. So depending on if you use like the lunar calendar or the Western calendar, that could be July 7th up to like August 7th. So it is during this whole month in Japan that Tanabata is celebrated throughout the country. So because of the star-crossed lovers theming, we have Mickey and Minnie here dressed up as the prince and princess who are separated. This whole glittery background of different colored stars represents the Milky Way, and I just think that that is incredibly gorgeous. You'll see that again in this pin as well, where Mickey and Minnie are the prince and princess able to finally come together for the holiday with the Milky Way here in the center. I mean, this holiday is just so cute and romantic. I love it. So one of the main things that people do on this holiday is they use it as a day to make wishes to the stars. So some people will also call it the Star Wishing Festival. So they take all these different colorful strips of paper and they'll either write their wishes on them and attach them to bamboo, just because bamboo is seen as something very prosperous. It grows tall and strong, kind of reaching towards the heaven, taking their wish. Or they make all these different paper chains, like they're being chained to go across the Milky Way. So that is a huge part of the festival, and you can see all of that represented in this really awesome 4-pin set. This is definitely just one of my favorite pieces, especially because it's all pastel and glittery. Like, it is, yeah, just gorgeous. So I'm going to scoot this down just a little bit because this is from the Tanabata Days festival that Tokyo Disney celebrates. There are different festivals or matsuri held all over the country during this time. Summer is definitely matsuri season in Japan, so I love this one just because, again, we have Mickey and Minnie representing the prince and princess, and it has this really cute little star dangle element here at the bottom. If you are ever in Japan in July, you should definitely check out their Tanabata celebration because they have a big parade and all these different activities going on, and the merchandise is just super cute with all the little star stuff. So Tanabata kind of kicks off the whole festival season in Japan. There's also another really big festival in August as well, which is Oban, and that's where they kind of celebrate their ancestors through dancing and fire. So anytime you go to Japan in the summer, you will just see matsuri or little street festivals held everywhere. They're in all different neighborhoods, and they range from huge on a national level where they're sometimes televised on TV to just really small ones at like a local shrine. So I definitely wanted to represent the whole Matsuri season, so that's what all of these other different pins are. So one of the main things that you will find at a Matsuri or a street festival is food. There are all different street foods set up. Otherwise, Japan really doesn't have a big street food culture. It's not like other countries in Asia. You basically find street food whenever you are at a festival, and one of the most popular things you can get is takoyaki, or these fried up little bits of octopus, and they're in these round ball shape. They are also a specialty of Osaka, which is where I lived, so that's why I have it represented in a few different pins here. So you can see the takoyaki here. We have a little Mickey here, and it says Osaka in Japanese down the side. And then we also have a little Mickey representing okonomiyaki. He has this big kind of metal spatula, which he uses to make the okonomiyaki, which is like a cabbage pancake with different sauces or meats on top. And again, this one also says Osaka because that is another specialty of that area as well. So apart from food, you're also going to find a lot of different carnival games like the goldfish scoop, and you'll find dancing. So this is another pin. It says Natsu Matsuri, or Summer Festival from Tokyo Disney. So you'll see Mickey and Minnie are wearing their very colorful celebration outfits. They've got the little summertime pinwheel blowing in the breeze. So I love this pin as well. It is very vibrant. And then here we have Chip and Dale. They are holding a fan, which is often used in the different dances at Matsuri. This one just has the word for Matsuri right on it. And they are also wearing these hoppy coats with the little braided headbands to help catch some of the sweat because it is so hot in summer in Japan. So the hoppy coat is one of the things you'll see people wearing at festivals, but you'll also see a lot of people dancing and wearing yukata, which is a lighter cotton robe. They kind of look pretty similar to a kimono, just different colored patterns, usually lighter colors and a little more vibrant for summer. So here we have Minnie dressed up in one like she is dancing for one of the festivals. I think this pin is gorgeous with her little glittery bow as well. And then down here you'll see her wearing another version, and Mickey is also wearing his little hoppy coat with his rope as well. I think this one is cute because it's almost like a cherry blossom pin, but not quite, since it doesn't really have the little notches in the petals here. This one just says Tokyo, but I still just love having this representing summertime and festivals in Japan. And then moving down to this last section across the bottom, this is actually a 5-pin series. They are all game pins from Tokyo Disney Sea, and it is representing Summer Matsuri. So we've got Mickey, Minnie, Max, who you rarely ever see on pins. This is one of my favorite pins. And then Clarice and Donald, they're all wearing their different colored hoppy jackets with their little white pants, except for Donald. He still is just got his butt hanging out. But I love this. They have all of their different sandals, their roped headbands, and they are totally festival ready to go out and dance and just have a good time. So yes, this board doesn't have that many themes represented, but I really just wanted to showcase a lot of Hong Kong and Japan just because this is both big months for them. And like I said, you guys know that Japan and Japanese holidays is one of my biggest collections, so I was really excited to kind of put these all together for you guys just so I could talk a little more about it and kind of share that culture and history with you guys. And yeah, so I am really happy with how this month's board turned out. And that is it for this month's pin board, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. I think I'm gonna for sure at least do one more monthly pin board for August. It is going to be my birthday month, so I think it'd be fun just to kind of put a board together that represent different aspects of like me and stuff I like, and just let you guys get to know me a little bit better. All right, make sure to let me know if we are pin twins on anything and what your favorite pin this month was. I will chat with you guys down in the comments, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye guys.